week, and you got to a long weekend, a holiday weekend, and obviously a sports-loaded weekend. So excited to have you with us on this massive show, NHL playoffs, and NBA playoffs, and of course, a lot of MLB, a full slate of MLB this evening. So we've got a lot of research to do, a lot of picks to give out, a lot of sports to talk about, everybody. And if you don't know already, sports is the absolute best. Wonderful to have you guys with us across all of our platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. It is so awesome to be with you guys on this Friday. I hope you guys are having the best possible day you could, and I hope you are so excited for the weekend ahead. If you have questions, put them in the comment section. If there's something you want us to rant about, throw it in the comment section, no matter the platform. Again, Instagram Live, TikTok Live, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. We love talking sports here at Butt Fumble Sports any way we can. We're a sports content company created by a sports fan for you real sports fans at home, and I am just so excited to be with you guys today. We have a lot of action to get to. We're not going to waste too much time on this opening little intro, but for all those new to the show, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, make sure you're a part of the best community of sports fans across all of social media, because we get here almost every day when I'm not having challenges in life, and when I'm able to get to it every single day we come on live to talk some sports and have a lot of fun. We are going to dive first, before we get to even questions, we're going to dive right into the NBA game. Only one NBA game on the slate tonight, and I know people are going to be asking about it all show long, so I'd figure I'd jump right into it. Mavericks, Timberwolves, Game 2 of the series. That's where we're going to start. So if you are watching on YouTube like Chase Green, what's up? Hope you're having a great day, Chase. Don't worry, we'll get to your questions. TikTok, Instagram Live. Don't sweat it. We'll get to all of your questions. Aaron, we'll talk Jays and Tigers, but I know everyone's going to want to know about Mavericks and Timberwolves, so let's get it out of the way. Game tips off tonight, 8:30 TNT. As of right now, the Timberwolves are a 5.5-point favorite. Just so we know where the line has gone on this, it opened at -3.5 in favor of the Timberwolves. It's moved up from 3.5 to 4.5, all the way up to -5.5. So obviously, not only is the money coming down on it, but the sports books are starting to move that line to reflect that kind of action. Speaking of action on the game, 84% of the tickets are on Minnesota to win. 65% of the money is on Minnesota to win. Not a lot of great value on Minnesota straight up, -218 where we see it right now. Dallas is going off at +196 if you like the underdog to pull off the upset. As for the spread, this is where it gets interesting. Money favoring Timberwolves just slightly. 61% of the tickets so far bet on the spread are on the Timberwolves to cover -5.5. 68% of the money coming down in that direction. So one of the reasons we talk about the market and the money is to get a sense of where the value is according to those that are betting it, both public and the smart or the sharp money. Thus far, feels like the money is in favor of the Timberwolves to cover. Let's dive into some trends. Before we do that, though, the over's getting a lot of love. The over, you might have seen this on social media so far. In the conference finals thus far, the over is 3-0. Are we making anything of that? I wouldn't. We'll look at this game individually, but it's just something that's interesting to note. Maybe more of a statement about how the sports books have been actually lowering the total over the last few weeks of playoffs. May not be so deserved given where we are in the conference finals. Let's dive into some trends, everybody. First things first, let's see how the Timberwolves have done when they are coming off a loss this year. They're at home as a favorite. So coming off a loss at home as a favorite, the Timberwolves are 12-4 straight up. 7-9 though against the spread. Over/under has gone 8-7-1, favoring the under. Now what is interesting is if I'm just looking for straight up play, the Timberwolves are 2-4-6-1 in their last 7 games off a loss as a home favorite. If I reduce that sample size down just a little bit, and I want to see how they've done against winning teams in that time, again, after a loss as a home favorite, 7-3 straight up, 4-6 against the spread. So feels like Timberwolves on the money line, early indication, but the spread gets a little interesting. How about when the Timberwolves are a 5.5-point favorite? I'm just kind of curious how they've done so far this year when they've been a favorite between, let's say, 5 and 7 points. Maybe even lower that a little bit. Let's say between -4 and -6. Got to flip that around. So when the Timberwolves have been a favorite between -4 and -6, they're 7-6 against the straight up. They're 5-8 against the spread. They've actually gone 1-4 in their last 5 games with the spread set at this mark. They've gone 1-5 against the spread over that time. Kind of interesting to note, this is actually a line that they've kind of struggled with. When I take that line and I put them at home, they're 1-5 straight up. This is a really interesting trend. For all of those out there, maybe for some of you guys, these trends are just kind of random. You don't put too much stock in it. I totally understand. But when we come across something that has been consistently hitting, just stands out to us. When the Timberwolves have had a spread where they're a favorite between 4 and 6 points at home this year, they're 1-5 straight up. They're 0-6 against the spread. 0-6 against the spread under the very line that's set right now. So the fact that this opened at -3.5 and moved to -5.5 is not irrelevant, because it moved from what probably is a really good spot for the Timberwolves to all of a sudden being a bad spot. I find that incredibly interesting. If you guys do as well, let me know. Maybe these are trends that don't attract you, but that one stands out. Timberwolves with a -5.5-point spread so far this year at home are 0-6 against the spread and 6-1 and 1-5 straight up. That stands out to me. Let's flip it around here and let's just see how the Mavericks have done when they've had, again, the reverse situation. When the Mavericks have had a spread that is greater or equal to 4, less than or equal to 6, and they're on the road so far this year. Mavericks in that situation, wow, 5-2 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. Over has gone 5-2 as well. By the way, okay, if I just look at the scenario of a -5.5-point spread and the location is home for the Timberwolves, away for the Mavericks, Mavericks are 5-2 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. The over is 5-2. If I flip it around, the Timberwolves are 1-5 straight up, 0-6 against the spread. The over is 4-2. There are a couple of things that are standing out to me. The over feels like a good play based on what we're seeing. The Mavericks covering the spread looks like a good play based on what we're seeing. I would have said take the Timberwolves on the money line. I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing the same kind of value I expected just based on the trends that we're drilling down on. Now that's very specific. That's about a -5.5-point spread. Let's just go into some other trends because maybe that's a bit too, maybe that's deceiving. Maybe a small sample size of 7 games doesn't mean much to enough of you. How about the Mavericks after a win when they're an away dog? Okay, things sway back in favor of the Timberwolves, at least on the money line. Mavericks after a win when they're an away dog the following game, they're 4-9 straight up, 5-8 against the spread. Over under is 6-7. Important to note though, they have covered 3 of their last 4 games under this scenario. Flipping it around, taking a look at the Timberwolves. Timberwolves, I'm just kind of curious when they've had a total that's been less than 220 so far this year. 33-13. How about when they've been at home? 15-8. Over's been favored. How about when the total is less than 220 and they're a home favorite? 15-7 straight up. 10-12 against the spread. The over has gone 14-8. And I feel like that data, that trend, is going to follow through. If I had to put any bets down right now from what I'm seeing, I'm going to take Mavericks to cover. I might buy it up a little bit. I certainly don't think this is going to be a blowout in my opinion. So I think Mavericks right now plus 5.5 is at even money. I feel like that's phenomenal. I can get the Mavericks right now at plus 7.5 at -138. I think that's a great spot. Really quick, just circling back to some of the Mavericks trends. They've been winning the day, Oh, kind of interesting here. Mavericks, after a win as an away dog, the margin of difference is 8. So actually, I want to be on the other side. I want to take this at 8.5. Again, this could be a same game parlay. Is you could take Mavericks plus 8.5. You could take Timberwolves on the money line. Though Timberwolves on the money line, frankly, I don't feel as good about it as I really want to. Do I think the Timberwolves probably win? Yes. Do I have enough confidence in it? I really don't at the moment. But I would take Mavericks and Timberwolves. I'd take the over. I'd take the over. Again, if I'm going to do a same-game parlay, a number of you guys have been asking me to put out those kind of two-leg parlays for you during the show. So for this one, the total opened at 208.5, went down to 206.5, came back up to 207. I'm going to be very conservative on this. I'm going to take it at 201.5, over at 201.5, and I'm going to same-game parlay that. And for all of those that are new to the show, I do like alternative lines. The sports books are trying to get my money, so any way I can get a slight edge on it, I certainly would. But Mavericks plus 8.5, Mavericks Timberwolves over 201.5. I'm going to put that into a same-game parlay. That's going to come in at really good odds, actually, for the kind of risk I'm actually taking. So I think that's a good play. Do I think the Timberwolves probably win? I think they probably do, but I got spooked by the trends we just saw. I like the Mavericks to cover more than I like the Timberwolves to win, and especially with the way the Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, you take your quarter, I take my quarter approach is working. I actually think it's a favorable approach. Now, I think Anthony Edwards is going to play much better. Let's talk some player prop bets. I know a number of you guys are curious about that. Let's jump into some player prop bets for everybody. I'm actually curious about this. One thing we can actually look up on killersports.com is this past season when Anthony Edwards in the previous game has had a point total that's been less than 20. How have they performed so far this year? So Anthony Edwards, when Anthony Edwards has less than 20 points the previous game, the Timberwolves are the following game just 12-11 straight up. They're 12-11 against the spread. The over is 16-7. So once again, the over comes back a good play. And the only reason that stands out to me is because Anthony Edwards is going to be more aggressive offensively. I think that actually is going to diminish maybe his defense, which actually helps with points. And it's going to mean he's more effective offensively, also contributes to points. How about when Anthony Edwards has been at home in the following game after a sub 20-point performance? 5-6 straight up, 5-6 against the spread, but the over, once again, 7-4. The over has actually hit in 5 of the last 6 games after Anthony Edwards has failed to reach 20 points and they're at home. Just kind of stands out to me. Really interesting here. Now, they have averaged a win of about 6 points, so once again, taking Mavericks plus 8.5 feels like a solid play. Let's get into some of the trends for player prop bets. Let's first look at Anthony Edwards. I know a lot of you are curious about how he's going to bounce back. His points, rebounds, and assists right now is set at 38.5. Just for those who are kind of curious about that, not that you guys are necessarily going to play that, he's hit the over on that just 2 times in his last 5 games against the Dallas Mavericks. And specifically, that's at home. When he's playing on 2 days of rest, he hit the under on that at home. He's hit the under on that twice. Kind of interesting on that. Now, matchups that are favorable. Anthony Edwards does have a favorable matchup in terms of points, or should, but hasn't really been the case against the Dallas Mavericks. He has gone over a point total of 27.5 just 3 times in his last 8 games against Dallas, and just 1 time in his last 5 games at home. Anthony Edwards, when he plays the Dallas Mavericks in Minnesota, does not go over 27.5 points frequently. Definitely something to keep your eye on. Now, this opened at 26.5, went up to 27.5. I think a lot of people are just expecting him to have a very big game. But that said, over the last 20 games at home, when he's failed to have 20 points in the previous game, He actually usually has bounced back for over 20, but he can't consistently be getting over 26, over 27. He had 19 last game. The last time he had 19, he bounced back at home with 44. Kind of curious about this one. How about when he's on the 2 days of rest that we're giving him? I'm going to avoid Anthony Edwards. That's going to be the first thing I do. Do I like him on assists? Nope. Kind of curious which players you're curious about when it comes to this player prop bet for this game tonight. Just taking a quick look. Naz Reid. Could Naz Reid have a bounce back game? His points, rebounds, and assist total opened at 15.5, went up to 16.5, then came back down to 15.5. At home in the playoffs, he has hit over 15.5 5 times in his last 10 games. On 2 days of rest, according to Outlier, 7 of his last 10 games, head-to-head against Dallas. It's been a decent trend. I kind of like this one. Naz Reid over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That's Naz Reid over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Take it at the 14.5. Again, you may want to put this into a same-game parlay, but that's actually been hitting fairly consistently. That's hit in 5 straight games against the Dallas Mavericks. Specifically at home, it's hit in 4 of the last 5 games against the Mavericks. One last time, that's Naz Reid over 14.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. That's one that we've put... I'll put that one up actually on the board as well. Naz Reid over 14.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. I'm just going to keep looking at a few more player prop bets. Don't worry, we're going to get to baseball, Jose. We're going to get to some other bets as well. Someone is asking about Anthony Edwards on rebounds. I wasn't getting too excited about Anthony Edwards on points and assists. When it comes to rebounds, is there any reason to get excited about this? Head-to-head against the Dallas Mavericks, it's hit in 3 of the last 10 games. Yes, 2 of the last 3 against them, but specifically at home, just 2 of the last 5 meetings. I don't have enough confidence in this play. I know it opened at 5.5 and went up to 6, but I don't have enough faith in it. Someone's asking about Kyrie Irving. Kyle is asking about Kyrie Irving on points, rebounds, and assists. Right now, this one's set at 31.5. This did hit last game. On the road, this is hit in 5 of the last 10 games, but just 1 of the last 5 overall. Head-to-head against the Minnesota Timberwolves, this has hit in 3 straight games. Let me repeat that. Against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Kyrie Irving has gone over 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists in 3 straight games against them. In fact, his lowest total was 39, and that was last game. Now, his points, rebounds, and assists, the market for this opened at 31.5 and came down to 30.5. Kind of interested by the movement moving away from him. The matchup obviously shouldn't favor him. Timberwolves, 4th in points allowed to point guards, 2nd in rebounds allowed. Assists is where they struggle slightly with point guards, 14th. But frankly, obviously Minnesota's a very good defensive team. Points, Kyrie Irving's point total is set at 22.5. He's hit that 3 straight games against the Dallas Mavericks on the road. He's hit that in 12 of his last 20 games, but again, just 1 of his last 5 games on the road. When he's had a rest of 2 days, wow, that's really interesting. So Outlier is counting this as 2 days of rest. I don't know if I really believe that. I really think of it as 1 day of rest, given they just had yesterday off, but they played the previous day. But Outlier is doing it based off of how they separate their data, so I'll run with this. According to Outlier, when he has had this rest total, Kyrie Irving on the road has hit over 22.5 points in 11 of his last 12 games. The only time that he missed was his last game played under these circumstances, which was May 1st against the Clippers. Based on that, this is a phenomenal trend. This opened at 22.5, went up to 23.5. I have to buy this just based on what I'm seeing. Again, you want to play it a bit conservative. take it at the 20.5 and put it into a same game parlay. But frankly, I think the market's there. I'd take this at over 22.5 as it's set. Normally I wouldn't do that, but the trend's strong enough. Kyrie Irving, you want to take it at over 21, over 20 and a half, I'd do it. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. We'll get back to more player prop bets for the NBA as you guys ask about it, but I know there's a lot of baseball that you guys care about, and I don't want to spend too much time on this NBA game. So let's get to some questions. Vontae, I do like the over 22.5 for that. J-Locks, really quick, is asking about Kyrie on assists. And so before we do move on, since I'm seeing that question right now, let's just pull up the assist total really fast to see if that's a good bet along with the points. Again, maybe that convinces us that over points, rebounds, and assists is a good play. We already like the points. We know points, rebounds, and assists has been hitting consistently. His assist total has not hit very consistently, though. It has hit in 2 of the last 3 games against Dallas, but the last game it missed. In his last 20 games overall, this has only hit in 9 of his last 20. On the road, 8 of his last 20. Just 2 of his last 8 games this over has hit. So J-Locks, I wouldn't touch it. Feels a little bit, it feels like it could happen, and at plus 110, maybe not a bad return, but I can't endorse it simply because the probability based on the frequency just isn't there. So I'm going to take his point total over, but I will not take his assist total over. Patrick is asking for a no run in the first inning play based on ballparkpal.com. Mariners and Nationals would be a game I'd have my eye on for no run in the first inning. Mariners and Nationals. Any other games with no run in the first inning that we've got our eye on? I'll flip it around. One game I do think there's going to be a run in the first inning, Dodgers and Reds. In fact, I'm going to put that one up on the board right now. Dodgers, Reds, yes to a run in the first inning for that one. So no run for Mariners and Nationals. Patrick, this is a shout out to you. No run for Mariners and Nationals, but yes to a run for Dodgers and Reds. I actually just put that one up on the big board. And by the way, if any of you guys watching on Instagram Live or TikTok Live want to see us do our research live on the screen and want to see the big board that I'm referring to, jump on over to YouTube. You can find us at Butt Fumble Sports on YouTube, and you can see me do my research right in front of you, follow along, and obviously see all of our picks. Another game I think there will be a run is Phillies and Rockies. So a couple of games I do think there's going to be a run. Dodgers and Reds, Phillies and Rockies, YRFI, yes to a run in the first inning. Any other games we have our eye on? Nope, that's it. So I would say no run in the first inning for Mariners and Nationals, yes to a run in the first inning for Dodgers and Reds, and yes to a run in the first inning for Phillies and Rockies. Need 3 MLB players for RBI tonight. Boss, let's take a look. As in, you need 3 players who are going to get an RBI tonight. Just clarify for me. Wow, T, I thought it was Matt Manning as well. Interesting that it's now Kenta Maeda. Wow, that is interesting. That is interesting. I do think that changes some things, actually. So, T, that's a tough spot to be in. Boss, over on Instagram Live, are you saying you need 3 players who we think are going to get an RBI tonight? If so, let us know. More than happy to do that research for you. But before we dive into that, I just want to make sure I'm barking up the right tree. Jorge is asking about the Yankees on the money line. Interesting matchup. Carlos Rodon, Darvish. Certainly a good game. 9:40 first pitch, but should be a lot of fun as we see Juan Soto return to San Diego. Let's take a look at how the Yankees have done so far this year as an away dog, or an away favorite. Wow, they're an away favorite. Didn't expect that. When they are an away favorite so far this year. Oops. Team. Yankees is an away favorite this year. 9-5 straight up, but 7-7 on the run line. Over has hit at 8-6 when they play a first game of a series on the road as an away favorite. 4-1 straight up. That actually is a nice note. 3-2 on the run line. 1-4 is the over, so 4-1 on the under. Kind of interesting to note, though, that the first game of a series that they've played as an away favorite includes the Diamondbacks, Guardians, Brewers, Rays, and Twins, so not terrible opponents. Boss, I see you. We'll get to you right after our Yankees research. We got you, boss. So that said, kind of interesting to note that the Yankees money line and the under at least is opening trends, at least has something going behind it. But obviously, we're not looking for one thing to go in our direction. We're looking for a constellation of variables. How about when the Padres are a home dog? First game of a series, I'm not seeing them marked as a dog on killersports.com, that is. When they are at home, first game of a series, Padres 3-5 straight up, 2-6 on the run line, 4-3-1 favoring the over just slightly. I'm going to dive into a few more trends around this. First things first, I want to see how the Padres have done when the starting pitcher they're facing is a left-handed pitcher, Carlos Rodon obviously on the mound. Wow, 7-8 straight up, 7-8 on the run line. However, they are 2-4-6. They are 2-7 in their last 9 games against the left-handed starter. Again, 2-7 in their last 9 games against the left-handed starter. Specifically at home. Wow, another good trend for the Yankees money line play. The Padres, when they faced a left-handed starter at home in San Diego this year, are 1-5 straight up, 0-6 on the run line. The under is 4-2. So if we're combining the trend of Yankees first game of a series on the road is a favorite, 4-1 straight up, the under 4-1, and kind of pair that with Padres against a left-handed starter at home, 1-5 straight up, 0-6 on the run line, under 4-2, starting to build a bit of a case for those trends, backing up Yankees money line and the under. But let's go one step farther. Let's see as a starter how Yu Darvish has done this year, or more specifically, how the Padres have done when he starts. Padres are 7-2 in his starts, and they have won their last 6 games with him on the mound. The over has also gone 6-3. Interesting there. First game of a series when Yu Darvish has started, they're 3-1 straight up, 2-2 on the run line, over 3-1. They've won their last 3, and the over's hit in their last 3. So Yu Darvish kind of bucking some of the trends we were kind of building a case for. Not surprised, just given his history. How about Carlos Rodon, though? Carlos Rodon, so far this year, Yankees are 7-3 in his starts, 6-4 on the run line. Over-under is 5-4-1. When Rodon has pitched on the road so far this season, Yankees are 4-2 straight up, 4-2 on the run line. Over 3-2-1. Specifically, when Darvish pitches at home so far this year, Padres are 4-1 as well. This becomes a tricky one. Really fast, let's take a look at where the market's coming down on this game for the Yankees and the Padres. Right now, Yankees on the money line, 74% of the money, 74% of the tickets, 72% of the money. Yankees, even though it's -1.5 for them on the run line, are getting more money. 81% of the money is actually on the Yankees -1.5, and the Yankees, in terms of bets, 74% of tickets. Really tricky one for me on this. If I had to go in any direction, I think I would take the Yankees on the money line, but I really don't love it, to be honest. The over-under is set at 7.5. I think that's based on a lot of the trends that we spoke about at the beginning of researching this game. However, Carlos Rodon, the over's been a slightly better play. Yu Darvish, same thing. And what it really is about is both teams seem to provide both of those starters with run support. So frankly, overall, I'm not excited about this game. Again, if I had to go anywhere, I might take Yankees on the money line. Given Yankees are -1.5, not a terrible return, given they've been playing so well, especially when they're the favorite. But I feel like this is a trap. I feel like with Yu Darvish on the mound, this could go in either direction. We did have a request a moment ago about some players we think are going to get an RBI today. And one of the things I like to do when we're talking about this is I want to notice games where I think they're just going to be runs overall. Based on ballparkpal.com, which is one of the websites we use to do our baseball research every day, there are 3 games where the likelihood of runs are up double digits because of the weather in those ballparks. The 3 games we're talking about are Phillies and Rockies, Dodgers and Reds, Brewers and Red Sox. Now, I already said 2 of those games I like a run in the first inning, so it just gives you a sense of we think they're going to be offense in those games. For the viewer out there who is asking us about RBI's boss, GBG, this is a place where we can kind of build the case for 3 players to get RBIs from these 3 different games. Let's start by looking at that Phillies and Rockies game. Phillies and Rockies, which pitcher, which hitter has a good matchup? I noticed this one earlier in doing my research. I know that Ty Blatch of the Rockies is a left-handed pitcher, and you may go, oh, well then a left-handed hitter won't hit him well. Not the case. Kyle Schwarber is 3 for 4 lifetime against the Rockies starting southpaw. One of those hits was a home run. He's got 2 RBIs against him. And Kyle Schwarber is hitting .324 against lefties. So Schwarber hitting lefties very well. He's struggling against righties. I think Kyle Schwarber is not only going to get a hit tonight, I think he could get an RBI. I think he could go yard. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually led off the game with a bomb. It's that kind of environment at Coors Field tonight. Should be a lot of offense. So I'm going to put Kyle Schwarber over half a hit up on the big board for those who are watching the show. We will be talking about RBIs because that was the root of the question. But Kyle Schwarber, right now it's set at 1.5 hits. So Kyle Schwarber, Kyle Schwarber over half an RBI. I would take that. I think it's a good play. Another player that you may want to consider, JT Realmuto is hitting .365 against left-handed pitching so far this year. In his career against this pitcher, 1 for 2. So those are 2 hitters that I certainly have my eye on. JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber. Put them into some same-game parlays involving the Phillies. Feel like that's a good investment for your money. Additionally, Edmund Sosa has been crushing. Edmund Sosa has been crushing left-handed pitching. Again, not a great return on over 1.5 hits. But maybe over half a run. Edmund Sosa has scored a run in 8 of his last 10 games, specifically against a left-handed pitcher. He has scored a run in 6 of his last 8 games overall on the road, 4 straight games against the left-handed starter. If it's against any pitcher in his last, 4 games on the road, he scored a run. So Edmund Sosa over half a run, kind of an interesting play as well, given that he's hit lefties so well. The other game I mentioned a moment ago was Dodgers and Reds. What do I like for an RBI in that game? A player I like for an RBI in that one, Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman has 6 at-bats lifetime against Graham Ashcraft. He has a .667 average, 2 RBIs. I know it's a limited sample size, but Freddie Freeman over half an RBI. I think that's another one. So, boss, Kyle Schwarber or JT Realmuto from the Phillies. I'd also say Freddie Freeman. Those are a couple players I could see getting you an RBI this evening. Looking over on the Reds side of things, I actually think the Reds have some hitters who could do well. Stevenson, keep my eye on him. Fairchild as well. I'm not saying you should put those into your RBI parlay, but something to consider. And then finally, that Brewers and Red Sox game. I'd keep my eye on Rafi Devers. Rafi Devers is raking right now. Rafi Devers would probably be my third. So again, I'd probably make it, I kind of want to say Kyle Schwarber. I would do 2 different parlays, boss. I do Kyle Schwarber, Freddie Freeman, Rafi Devers, and then I do one that's like JT Realmuto, Freddie Freeman and Devers. You might want to swap out Freeman for Shohei in one of these. The problem is now I'm starting to do round robins because I just love doing round robins so much. Douglas, we did Naz Reid over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So that was a Naz Reid play that we really liked. Jennifer, love Freddie Freeman. Great call on that one, Jennifer. Jorge, Reds game. Reds Dodgers, yes to a run the first inning. Phillies, yes to a run the first inning. It's also Mavericks plus 8.5. Mavericks plus 8.5. Do that at Mavericks plus 8.5 in a same game parlay with Mavericks Timberwolves over 201.5. Appreciate you letting people know about it. You ever look at first basket in the NBA? Not once, show me. I feel like that's one of those bets where you could chase that your whole life and never get it. I know there are a lot of people on social media who put out these bizarre bets. I shared this with you guys a couple of days ago on my Instagram story. Todd Furman was hilarious. He put out different social media and what you can find on them. On Twitter, you can find people that hit like lottery ticket sports bets and never seem to miss. On Instagram, you find like gorgeous women who just happen to be like amazing sports bettors. On TikTok Live, you have people who are always giving you their strategy to beat like a plus 10,000 parlay. And it's just funny how each channel produces its own different kind of content, its own different kind of audience. And so anyways, I feel like the Twitter is dead on because Twitter is always telling me about these like, someone had Pascal Siakam a dunk on the first play and he took like 5 cents and turned it into like $1 million. And I'm just like, all right, you know, and maybe you could stumble upon like a Buffalo penny that's worth 10 grand. Who knows? This is a wild world, but not what I'm going to be looking at. Any total overs or unders in today's MLB picks? Well, Phillies and Rockies is going to have a lot of offense. Dodgers and Reds is going to have a lot of offense. Brewers and Red Sox is a game I like for the weather, but I'd be a little bit wary because of the pitching matchup. The matchup at Citi Field could be favorable towards the under. Giants and Mets, the under could be good there. Really quick, let's take a look at some of the totals, the overs for this. Dodgers and Reds is set at 10.5. Really quick, let's do some research on that game. We haven't looked at that one. Dodgers on the road is a favorite. First game of a series so far this year. 5-2 straight up, 5-2 on the run line. Over-under has come in at 4-3. How about when the Reds are at home as an underdog? First game of a series so far this year. 1-1 straight up, 1-1 on the run line. 0-2 favoring the under. Dodgers facing a right-handed starting pitcher when they're on the road so far this year. Dodgers 7-6 straight up, 7-6 on the run line. The under's actually gone 7-6 as well. Kind of surprised by that. Let's double down on that. Let's see how the Reds have done against left-handed pitching so far this year when they faced a left-handed starter at home. Reds this year have gone 4-8 straight up, 4-8 on the run line, over under. Under's gone 7-4-1. So kind of interesting. I know the weather is favoring the over. A lot of the trends are favoring the under. How about James Paxton? James Paxton on the mound for the Dodgers in this game. So far this season, when Paxton has been on the mound for the Dodgers are 7-1 straight up, 7-1 on the run line. The over-under has split at 4-4. But Dodgers have performed very, very well. Only game that they've lost with James Paxton on the mound came back on April 14th when they faced Yu Darvish at home. So facing a good starter, that's the only loss that they have with him on the bump. Now, other side of things, Graham, Ashcraft on the mound for the Reds. So far this year, Reds are 3-6 in his starts. They've actually lost the last 5 games in a row with him on the mound. They're 5-4 on the run line with him on there. Over is 6-3 as well. Specifically, when Graham Ashcraft has pitched at home, Reds are 2-1 straight up, 2-1 on the run line. Over/under favors the over 2-1. If I had to go anywhere with this game, this opened at 9.5. It's now up to 10.5. I'd probably buy it over 9 runs. Over 9 runs, Dodgers, Reds. I'm going to take the Dodgers on the money line. I don't love it. I want to like it more. The money for this game is coming down on the Dodgers to win. Not surprised by that. So I'll take Dodgers on the money line. And I'll take Dodgers and Reds over 9 runs. I'll put both of those on the big board. Again, I'm buying down that total from 10.5 to 9. You could talk me into either side, but I feel like the over's the better play. The weather in Cincinnati just favoring a lot of offense in that one. So that's what's standing out. Another game we just spoke about was Phillies and Rockies. Let's do some research on that game. Phillies are an away favorite, first game of a series. Phillies are 5-1 under that scenario, both straight up and on the run line. Over/under is 3-3. How about the Rockies? When the Rockies start a series at home as an underdog, 3-3 straight up, 3-3 on the run line. The under's been slightly better at 4-2. In fact, the under is hit in 4 straight games when they've been at home as a dog in first game of a series. How about the Phillies tonight? Phillies are facing a left-handed starter on the road, as mentioned a moment ago. When that's been the case, Phillies are 6-4 straight up. They've actually won 5 of their last 6 games overall. The over's also hit 6-3-1, and the over's been very consistent. Since April 24th, the over has hit 2, 4, 6 times out of 7 possible games. So the over's been a very good play, as well as the Phillies on the money line. Let's take a look at the Rockies. Rockies are facing a left-handed starter as well, I believe. When the Rockies have faced a left-handed starter at home this year, they're 1-3 straight up, 1-3 on the run line. Over/under is split at 2-2. Really quickly, I'm just going to look at Christopher Sanchez, starting pitcher for the Phillies. How have the Phillies performed when he's been on the mound so far this year? Christopher Sanchez. So far this season, Phillies are 4-5 in his starts, but just 1-8 on the run line. You heard that correct. Phillies are 1-8 on the run line in his starts. 4-5 straight up, 1-8 on the run line. The over has hit 5-2-2, so the over's been a better play. When Christopher Sanchez pitches on the road so far this year, 1-3 straight up, 0-4 on the run line. Bad news there. Let's take a look at the Rockies starter, though. What are his stats? Or what are the Rockies when he's been on the mound to start a game this year? He's made just 3 starts. They're 1-2 straight up, 1-2 on the run line. I'm going to take the Phillies. I will take the Phillies on the money line. I'm kind of curious what ballparkpal.com. Phillies on the money line. Where's the market for the over in this? So Phillies, Rockies. Phillies are getting the money. The over's getting a slight better. I think I'm going to come down almost in the same spot. This opened at 11.5 and came down to 10.5. Kind of interesting that it moved down. I like the over, but I only like the over at, again, like 9. So it would be a same-game parlay. I'm not going to put it up on the board, but if you're looking for a same-game parlay, Phillies money line, maybe over 9, over 8.5. That'd be something to consider. So you could do a couple parlays involving Dodgers and Reds, Phillies and Rockies. How do you feel about Cubs on the money line? Let's go at it. Shota Imanaga is on the mound for the Cubs this evening. He is the ERA king of baseball, at least for the moment. Market shows that the money's coming down on the Cubs. 70% of the tickets are on the Cubs to win. 84% of the money is on the Cubs to win. Cubs are the favorite. When the Cubs are a favorite on the road to start a series, only happened once this year up in Boston. They won that game. Good to note, Shota Imanaga was on the mound for that one. Now, when Imanaga has pitched this year for the Cubs, Cubs overall are 8-1, 5-4 on the run line. Over/under is favored. The under 6-2-1 to the under. The under is hit in 4 straight games. Only loss that the Cubs have had with Shota Imanaga on the mound came on the road to the Braves in a 2-0 loss. So he's been phenomenal. In fact, The opponent has at most scored just 3 runs in any game that Shota Imanaga has started. On the other side of things, Miles Mikolas is on the mound for the Cardinals. When he's been on the mound for the Cardinals are 4-6 straight up, 4-6 on the run line. Under once again, good play, 7-3. So the under getting some love here. When the Cardinals have been a home dog, first game of a series, 0-1 straight up, 1-0 on the run line. The under hit though. When the Cardinals are facing a left-handed starter and the Cardinals are at home, so far this year, 4-4 straight up, 4-4 on the run line. The unders hit 4-3-1. The unders hit in 3 of the last 4. The only time it missed was a push against the Orioles. On the other side of things, just kind of curious how the Cubs have done against a right-handed starter when the Cubs have been on the road. Cubs are 11-9 in that scenario, 13-7. Under, once again, a good play at 12-8. Thing that's kind of standing out to me the most is Cubs on the money line and the under. The money is not favoring that. The total for this game right now is set at 7.5. Don't love that. What would definitely raise that up to maybe 8.5. Thing I like the most, though, I'll take Cubs on the money line. Cubs on the money line is where I'm going to come down on it. Shota Imanaga makes the difference on that. So Cubs on the money line. Next pick that we're putting up on the big board. Appreciate all you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you're new to Butt Fumble Sports, make sure you're DMing me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every day. We give away our picks for free regardless of the sport, regardless of the odds, regardless of where you guys watch the show. We give away our picks every day for free. Never behind a paywall. Never charge for them. So just DM me on Instagram. You'll get every bet that I make every single day for free. Caesar, great to see you, Caesar. Hope you're doing well. Angelo, thanks for the kind words. JP, I do like Cubs' first 5. JP is asking about Cubs' first 5 innings. Actually, I do like that play a lot. Given with Imanaga on the mound, feel like it's a good one. Good call. Caesar, you're asking about Orioles game against the White Sox. So, Orioles coming off a bizarre win. Did you see that runner interference call? Definitely felt a little shady. Felt like the umpire might have had Orioles minus 1.5 in that one. So the Orioles, when they are an away favorite and they won the previous game, Orioles so far this year are just 4-4 straight up and 4-4 on the run line. Under that scenario, you kind of surprised by that actually. You would have thought they would play better under that case, but not really. Corbin Burns on the mound for the Orioles. Thus far in his starts, Orioles are just 6-4 in his starts, and they've won just one of their last 5 games with him on the mound. He had a 4-game losing streak with him on the mound before their win against the Mariners in his last outing. The over-under has gone 4-4-2, so split across the board on that. Let's go and look at Chris Flexen. Chris Flexen on the mound for the White Sox this evening. How have the White Sox done when he's been on the bump? Chris Flexen, 2-6 straight up, 2-6 on the run line. Over is hit at 5-2-1. When the Orioles are facing a right-handed starter on the road so far this year, 7-6 straight up, 7-6 on the run line, 6-5-2, favoring the over as an away favorite against a right-handed starter. Man, they have just 2 wins in their last 7 games. When they face a right-handed starter after a win, man, Orioles don't have great stats, if I can admit it. You would think they'd have better numbers. How about the White Sox so far this year? White Sox at home after a loss. White Sox at home after a loss are just 4-12 straight up, 7-9 on the run line. When they are facing a right-handed starter, 3-10 straight up. They've lost their last 4. The over's hitting 5 straight games under that scenario. Looking at ballparkpal.com, Orioles are definitely a reason to believe in them. The market is favoring the Orioles. I'm going to take the Orioles on the money line. But again, this is something you're folding into some parlays. Orioles on the money line is just a minus 250 return. So you'd have to put this into a parlay or a round robin to make it worth your while. Brian, Rockies on the money line. Sorry, I'm coming out Phillies on the money line. Sean, do we like the Yankees? I don't have them up on my big board, but the answer is I'm leaning Yankees. I just don't like them enough. Just given, frankly, that Yu Darvish is actually such a good starting pitcher. I'm not crazy about it, to be honest. And what I mean by that is I'd probably avoid that game if I could. That's why it's not on the big board. Getting some questions. Derek Lively rebounds. We're getting a question about an NBA player prop bet. We'll get to Royals. Andrew, I'll do Royals in a moment. But first, Derek Lively on rebounds. Kind of a bizarre question. Let's take a look at it. And I say bizarre as in not one that would have come to mind. His rebound total is set at 6.5 right now. He has gone over 6.5 in 4 of his last 5 games. This opened at 7.5, came down to 6.5. Kind of interested by that movement. Centers, tough matchup obviously for him, going up against the Centers of Minnesota. On the road, he's hit this in 6 of his last 10 games, specifically against the Timberwolves. 1 out of his last 3. He has hit this in 5 of his last 7 games, 5 of his last 6 games on the amount of rest that he has tonight. I'll lean towards the over. Derek Lively over 6.5 rebounds. I'm not going to put it up on the board, but for the individual who asked about that one, I believe that was Nick. Nick over on YouTube. I'll lean towards the over. Lean towards the over really quick. Getting a quick question about Rudy Gobert and his stats. Rudy Gobert, over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. There's nothing about this that I really like. You can just see from the trends. The matchup, anything about the matchup we like? Maybe rebounds. Is rebounds one that we would consider? Rudy Gobert on rebounds, not a great trend. Head-to-head against Dallas, he's only gone over this rebound total once in his last 5 games, specifically at home. Missed 3 straight games. In fact, Rudy Gobert under 12.5 rebounds might actually be a decent play. This opened at 12.5, went down to 11.5, came back up. Rudy Gobert under 12.5 rebounds might be something to consider. But other than that, there's nothing about him that gets me excited. So no, I'm not thinking Rudy Gobert for tonight's game. Someone was asking about Royals, the Royals game. Let's take a look at that Royals game. The Royals are playing the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa Bay. They got Seth Lugo on the mound. Really like how Seth Lugo's been pitching so far this year. As of right now, the Royals aren't just a favorite. The money's coming down on Kansas City. 65% of the tickets are on Kansas City to win. 93% of the money is on Kansas City to win. So a lot of the smart, sharp money coming down on KC. The Royals, as an away favorite, in the first game of a series so far this year. The Royals are 2-0 in that scenario, 2-0 on the run line. Taking a look at Seth Lugo really quick. Seth Lugo on the mound for the Royals. KC has gone 7-3 straight up, 7-3 on the run line. The under is hit 6-3-1. On the other side of things, Sean Armstrong on the mound for Tampa Bay tonight. How have the Rays done when he's been on the mound? So far this year, the Rays are 2-1 straight up, 2-1 on the run line. The over is 3-0. How have the Rays done? Rays as a home dog, first game of a series. I guess they're now counting them as dogs technically on killersports.com. But the Rays at home, first game of a series, 3-6 straight up. 2-7 on the run line. Based on what we're seeing right now, Royals on the money line. Royals on the money line. They have the better starting pitcher. They've done better as a favorite on the road. First game of a series. Rays, first game of a series at home, have struggled. Everything's pointing in that direction right now. Really quick, Rays at home against a right-handed starting pitcher. 9-12 straight up. 5-16 against the spread. Here's an interesting trend for you guys. The Tampa Bay Rays have lost their last 6 straight games at home against a right-handed starting pitcher. I think it goes to another game. I'm going to take Rays on the money line, everybody. Rays on the money line. Rays on the money line. Here's a quick recap of all the picks we've given out during the show so far. So listen up, everybody. Here's a recap of the picks we've given out during the show over the past hour or so. We've got Mavericks plus 8.5. That's a very important spot. Based on all the data that we saw, really the place that's the perfect spot to take it is Mavericks plus 8.5, but it should be a leg of a 2-leg parlay. Either, if you want to hedge it, kind of take it Mavericks plus 8.5, Timberwolves on the money line. But what we have on our big board is Mavericks plus 8.5, Mavericks Timberwolves over 201.5. So again, 2-leg parlay, Mavericks plus 8.5. By the way, I did mean Royals on the money line. Thanks for catching that. Mavericks plus 8.5, Mavericks Timberwolves over 201.5. Couple of player prop bets we like in that NBA Western Conference Finals game. Naz Reid over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. We also like Kyrie Irving over 21.5 points or over 22.5 points. We like for a couple of first inning run plays. We like Dodgers and Reds, yes to a run in the first inning. Phillies and Rockies, yes to a run in the first inning. We have Dodgers on the money line. Dodgers Reds over 9 runs. Phillies on the money line. Cubs on the money line. Orioles on the money line. And we just did Royals on the money line. Andrew, thanks for catching me. Royals on the money line. Boss, you're exactly right. Royals. Royals on the money line. How do we find the plays on the big board? You can go over to YouTube. The show is streaming live on YouTube. So we're on right now Instagram Live, TikTok Live, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Instagram Live and TikTok Live, I don't show my screen. I show me because the algorithm likes to see a human face. I've learned that over the course of owning my channel. So we tend to show me and treat it like a podcast. But if you watch on YouTube, you can see all the research that we do every single day. You can see the big board. You can see everything. You can watch over on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube to see that. So again, if you want to see the research on Outlier for player prop bets, Outlier for game picks, or the research we do on killersports.com, obviously, as well as the big board, you can go over to YouTube. That's the best way to watch. Andrew, long weekend of betting. Let's go. Andrew, I could not be more excited. I am so pumped for this weekend. Obviously, long weekend, great weather across the country. Should be just a great time. Truly the official kickoff of summer in many ways is Memorial Day weekend. But additionally, great sports action. We have fights, we have races, we have MLB full slates, we have NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. This is a great time to be alive. Love talking sports with you guys every day. User 7222. My channel handle is the same as here. Butt Fumble Sports. The name of my company is Butt Fumble Sports. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. It's always the same handle, Butt Fumble Sports. Make sure you guys, by the way, follow, subscribe, do all those things. Make sure you're a part of this community because we're live almost every single day. And again, we give away our picks for free. They're never behind a paywall. I never charge for them. Do I want you guys to follow? Of course I do. But make sure you guys are doing what's best for you. I don't want you guys spending your money on my picks. So make sure you guys DM me on Instagram to get every bet I make for free. Do I have any home run props? I think Kyle Schwarber is going to hit a home run tonight. If you told me Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto, I'd believe you. Anthony Santander is another one that I have my eye on for a home run. Chip Diamond, I'm going Royals on the money line. Chip Diamond, Royals on the money line. Reese Roll is asking about the Giants game. Giants game is one I looked up a little bit earlier, so I kind of have a sense of where I'm coming down on this one. Giants are the underdog, but the money's coming down on the Giants on the money line. So 79% of the tickets are on the Mets to win, but 46% of the money is on the Giants to win. Giants may be an underdog, but they're getting some love. Let's dive into this one a little bit. Giants so far this year, when they've been an away underdog, first game of a series, 0-2 straight up, 1-1 on the run line. Over-under has split at 1-0-1. Not enough there for me to really sink my teeth into. But here's the thing that got my attention when I was researching earlier. Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison's the starting pitcher tonight for the Giants. Kyle Harrison so far this year, 8-2 in his starts. Giants have won his last 7 straight starts. They're 7-3 on the run line. Over-under's gone 5-5. But the Giants have done very well with Kyle Harrison on the mound. How about Christian Scott? Christian Scott's going to be the Mets starting pitcher this evening. When Christian Scott has been on the mound, Mets are 0-3 straight up, 0-3 on the run line. So if you told me right now, just based on the 2 starting pitchers, who would I go with? I'd go with Giants rather. Giants on the run line. However, games against the left-handed starter, interesting to note. When the Giants have been on the road and faced a left-handed starting pitcher this year, the Giants are 9-12, 11-10 on the run line, 13-7 on the over. Again, I'm going to take the Giants plus 1.5. If you told me the Giants had been favored in this game, I'd probably take the Giants on the money line. But I like Giants plus 1.5. I think Giants plus 1.5 is a really strong play. I could see them winning outright. To me, it's about the starting pitching matchup. I prefer Kyle Harrison. I'll take Giants plus 1.5 because if you're giving it to me, I'll take it. Put that into some parlays. Giants plus 1.5 with like Orioles on the money line. Giants plus 1.5 with Phillies on the money line. Put it into some same game, into some parlays. I like that. Do I think there are going to be runs in this game? I don't. I think it's going to be a low total. The total for this game right now is set at 7.5. Wouldn't touch the over-under. Just feels like that's set probably about right. One thing I want to note is the sportsbooks know what they're doing. They set totals accordingly. So if you don't feel like you can gain an advantage one way or the other, do not chase it. They usually know what they're doing. Now, Giants and Mets, really quick. I do like the under, but are there any hitters that we like in this game? The Mets against left-handed pitching, J.D. Martinez is hitting .421 against left-handed pitchers so far this year. So if you were looking for a hitter, J.D. Martinez against left-handed starters has a hit in 6 straight games, 8 of his last 10. I'm actually going to put this one up on the big board. J.D. Martinez over half a hit. J.D. Martinez over half a hit. On the other side, do we like anything for the Giants side of things? Wade. Lamonte Wade Jr. is always a good pick against a right-handed starter. So 2 hitters I would keep my eye on. Lamonte Wade has a hit in 5 of his last 6 games overall against right-handed starters, 7 of his last 10. 4 straight on the road against right-handed starters. Lamonte Wade has a hit in 8 straight games, so I'm going to add him as well. Lamonte Wade Jr. over half a hit. 2 players we like to get a hit this evening. Let's add a few more of those, actually. A few more over half a hit plays. How about the Royals? Royals over half a hit. We spoke about them earlier. Sean Armstrong, no one with great numbers against them. Against right-handed hitting pitchers so far this year, obviously Bobby Witt Jr. is absolutely raking. I don't think you can get Bobby Witt Jr., though, at a good spot. But you may want to take him for over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. What about Salvador Perez? Salvador Perez against right-handed starters this year is hitting .333. He has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. Against a right-handed starter, he has a hit in 6 straight games, 8 of his last 10. Against the Rays, he has a hit in 3 straight games against the Rays. On the road against the Rays, has struggled a little bit, 1 of his last 3. But Salvador Perez over half a hit, not a bad bet if you're going to make a same-game parlay with Royals on the money line. We spoke a little bit earlier about Rafi Devers. Rafi Devers over half a hit was someone that we really liked. Tyler O'Neill is also someone to have your eye on. He's hit the starting pitcher of the Brewers pretty well in his career. Tyler O'Neill over half a hit is available. Against right-handed starters, he has a hit in 5 of his last 8 games overall. Against a right-handed starter, 6 of his last 10 actually. At home specifically, 8 of his last 10. I'm going to put this on the board as well. Tyler O'Neill, over half a hit. I mentioned a little bit ago, Anthony Santander is a player that I like tonight. You could get him over half a hit. He does have good numbers against the starting pitcher, I believe, or is it against... Yeah, against this starting pitcher, Anthony Santander, 3 hits and 9 at-bats against right-handed pitching so far this year, hitting just 169, so maybe you don't want to go for it. But I think Santander is a good play. Ryan Mountcastle has good numbers against him. Gunnar Henderson. Let's take a look at Gunnar Henderson really quick. Gunnar Henderson, for him, it would probably be over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's gotten over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs in 6 of his last 9 games. 6 of his last 7 games. Yeah, Gunnar Henderson, over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I'd put that on the board as well. 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs. Someone's asking about Marcus Semien, over half a hit. We haven't talked a lot about the Texas Rangers today. It's because, frankly, the Texas Rangers, tough team to predict at this point, given how inconsistent they've been to start the year. Marcus Semien going up against Bailey Ober, phenomenal numbers. Isaac, Daniel, great job. This is a really good play. Marcus Semien hitting .571 against this starter in 7 at-bats. 2 hits in 7 at-bats are home runs. Marcus Semien, I do like him over half a hit. Let's throw him on the big board. Marcus Semien, over half a hit. Good numbers against this starting pitcher. That'll convince me to go with him for this evening's game. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the show. If you're new to Butt Fumble Sports, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. We're live almost every single day. We'll be live tomorrow earlier in the day around 11:30, so make sure you're with us. Harlem World King, shout out to you. You the man, the goat over here on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Instagram Live, TikTok Live. It's so wonderful to have you guys watching every single day. Someone's asking right now about the Brewers and the Red Sox game. Brewers and Red Sox is a coin flip to me. Personally, I would not bet on this game. I'm going to show it to you, but I researched it earlier. I wouldn't touch it. The money's coming down on the Red Sox right now for them to win, but it's a coin flip of a game for me. Brewers on the road as a dog, first game of a series, are 1-2 straight up, 2-1 on the run line. The under is 3-0. On the other side, Red Sox at home, first game of a series, 1-6 straight up, 1-6 on the run line. The under's 5-1-1. The only thing I might take from this game is the under. The problem is the weather's favoring the over, so I'm really caught. The trends favor the under in Red Sox and Brewers, but the weather is favoring maybe some extra runs. Personally, I'd probably take it under 10.5. Under, this opened at 9, went down to 8.5, now is up to 9.5. I might take this under. I'll take Brewers and Red Sox under 10.5. That feels like an okay spot. Brewers, Red Sox under 10.5. I can get that right now at -145. Under 11 is -175. I'll take that. That's even better. But that's where I take it. The only reason I like that is the wind's blowing out to right field. Tough spot to get home runs if you're in Fenway Park, hitting it out to right center, deep right field. So I favor the under just a little bit. Big Ainge, under in the Mavs game? No, I'm going with the over. Mavericks plus 8.5 and Mavericks Timberwolves over 201.5. I'm putting those in a same game parlay. Again, Mavericks plus 8.5 and Mavericks Timberwolves over 201.5. A 2-leg same game parlay is what I'm doing with that one. I do like Freddie Freeman over half a hit. Good numbers against the starting pitcher. Good weather in Cincinnati for offense. Love Freddie Freeman tonight. Freddie Freeman should have a really big game. Late Night King, you have any thoughts on home runs today? Mentioned a couple players a little bit earlier ago. If you told me Gunnar Henderson, Rafi Devers, Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, those are a few players that I have my eye on to hit a home run this evening. If you told me Shohei Ohtani or Freddie Freeman went deep, I wouldn't be surprised in the least. A couple of people are asking me about the Astros and the Oakland Athletics. Let's take a look at that game. Last game of the evening, first pitch at 9:40. Justin Verlander on the mound for this one. That's what's going to make Astros a heavy favorite. Astros are an away favorite, first game of a series. Astros are 2-3 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. The under's gone 3, 1-1. When the Oakland Athletics have been at home as an underdog, first game of a series, they're 1-4 straight up, 1-4 on the run line. The under's 3-2. When the Astros are on the road facing a right-handed starter, I believe they're facing a right-handed starter this evening. Ross Stripling, they are. Astros on the road against a right-handed starter, 4-7 straight up, but they've won their last 3 games in a row. Unders hit at 7-4. When the Athletics are facing a right-handed starter and they're at home, 9-10 straight up, 9-10 on the run line. Over is 12-7. Over is actually hit in 2 for 7 straight games. Kind of interesting there. How about Justin Verlander so far this year? I know he's had limited exposure because of the injury. Justin Verlander, Astros are 2-4 in his starts, 2-4 on the run line, under 3, 2-1. How about Ross Stripling? Ross Stripling, the A's in his starts, 2-8 straight up, 3-7 on the run line. So that's what's going to make the ultimate difference for me on this one. I am going to take Astros on the money line. Not going to take the total, but I will take Astros on the money line, everybody. Astros on the money line. Next one that we're going with. So Blue Jays and Tigers, I'm not going to touch that one. I don't have as much confidence in the game. Reese Roll, Mariners and Nationals. What I actually like from that game is no run in the first inning. If I had to go with anything, I'm a little bit nervous about that one too. Mariners and Nationals. I think Mariners could win, but I could see the Nationals covering. Full Metal Jacket, I do think the Timberwolves probably win, but a good parlay, a good two-leg same-game parlay could be Timberwolves money line, Mavericks plus 8.5. Make sure you guys are DMing me on Instagram. If you missed any of the bets that we've given out during the show, make sure you DM me on Instagram. We give away our picks for free every single day. They are never behind a paywall. We never charge for them. Make sure you DM me on Instagram to get every single bet every single day, because I just want you guys to see the bets I'm making based on trends, data, analytics, matchups, weather, officiating, whatever data we can get our hands on. That's how I come up with my picks. They're not based on my favorite team. They're not based on my favorite player. They're not based on a fantasy player that I have or anything. It's based on data, matchups, any piece of information we can get our hands on. Someone's asking about the NHL game tonight. Look, I called game 1 wrong for the NHL. I'm probably going to avoid game 2. I thought the Rangers were going to come out and play much better. They did not. When the Rangers are coming off a loss and they're at home the following game, they're 12-5 straight up. The under is 10-6-1. Right now, the market for this game, the Rangers are an underdog. When the Rangers are coming off a loss and they're a home underdog, it's only happened once this year. They lost. It was to the Panthers, ironically. So, kind of interesting to note there. How about on the other side of things? How have the Panthers done after a win when they're on the road as a favorite? Panthers on the road as a favorite after a win, 20-5 straight up. I'm not going to bet this. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I could talk myself into the Panthers winning game 2. I feel like the Rangers are going to bounce back. just don't have good vibe on it. Over, under, I'm split on. I just don't have a good read on hockey. And if I don't have a good read on it, won't give it out. I don't want to give you guys the wrong impression, because then that may mean you spend your money on the wrong thing. With that said, we are going to wrap up our show in just a moment. So let me recap all the picks we've given out so far. We have Mavericks plus 8.5 in a parlay with Mavericks Timberwolves over 201.5. We have Naz Reid over 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. We have Kyrie Irving over 21.5 points. For baseball, we have Dodgers and Reds, yes to a run in the first inning. Phillies, Rockies, yes to a run in the first inning. We have Dodgers on the money line. We have Dodgers, Reds over 9. We have Phillies on the money line. We have Cubs on the money line. We have Orioles on the money line. We have Royals on the money line. We have Giants plus 1.5. We have Brewers, Red Sox under 11. We have Astros on the money line. And for some players we think are going to get a hit, J.D. Martinez, Lamonte Wade Jr., Tyler O'Neill, Gunnar Henderson over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and Marcus Semien over half a hit. We are going to post all of our picks right now up on social media. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make. That way you'll never miss any of them. If you just DM me on Instagram, I'll never charge you for them, so it's absolutely free. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Thanks for being loyal viewers. I hope you guys join us again tomorrow. We will be coming live at around 11:30, 12 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure you're DMing me on Instagram to get my picks today. And make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys are with us tomorrow. And that way we can talk some sports betting, and some fantasy sports like we did this afternoon. Can't wait to talk to you guys again. Enjoy your Friday nights. Enjoy your long weekend. You guys earned it. And I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe. See you, everybody. Goodbye.